Oof. Hey y'all. Surprise! It's me on a non Monday. Yeah, so welcome. I guess I'll start by saying that. Welcome to Sunday Shadows. Um, yeah, I'm Mark, and this is a series that is typically held on my Patreon, in my Patreon community. It's a Patreon exclusive. Um, but yeah, the live wasn't working over there, it kept crashing my phone. So hey, I went became the old faithful, the one who's always here. So that being said, hey, y'all are getting an exclusive today or tonight. Um, so yeah, if you end up enjoying this, then yeah, I would love to see you over on the Patreon, um, where there's so much more than just this live stream, but literally stuff every day. It's really a community focused on growth, spirituality, community more than anything, and really just doing the work, the day-to-day work in that journey to self and to actualizing everything we want for ourselves. And yeah, just all the magic under the sun and the work to really actualize and become is what we focus on over there. Um, so yeah, that being said, if you enjoy this, then I would love to see you over there for future Sunday Shadows and just for, yeah, just the day-to-day grind. Well, not even grind, just the day-to-day flow. But yeah, today has been a wild day, y'all. So definitely bear with me. Yeah, today definitely put the shadows in Sunday Shadows. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed, a little frustrated, a little over it, all type of stuff. So hey, the perfect energy to work through some of these shadows. So kind of makes sense, and it's very poetic in that sense. So yeah, I'm still looking forward to the reading and the shadow work and yeah, everything that's in store for us. But yeah, definitely be patient with me as I'm going to be patient with myself. Um, but that being said, my name is Mark, aka War Peace Rock. Um, and yeah, welcome, 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 welcome. Um, Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and get started with some presence practice. Hey, if you're typically here for Monday Magic, you know all about our presence practice. And if not, our presence practice is how we get started before we get into the work as far as the readings and just the overall energy that we're going to be working with. And that's extremely important as we're getting ready to do shadow work. And, some heavier things may come up. Who knows? It may not be heavy at all, but I'm definitely open to whatever comes up and whatever needs attention for us or anybody here in the collective with me. But yeah, so for our presence practice, we just get going with breath work, and then we go right into our body scan. And by the end of that, our cup is, there's enough room in our cup for the energy that we're going to be working with. And that's really important when it comes to these energies. Just to really create room and to not be scattered as we're trying to work with these things, or not already be, at our maximum, um, maximum capacity, have it already be full, and then, these heavy energies or these charged energies come in and you just don't have room for them, which would be doing a disservice, especially as you're here and you showed up. So it's very important to me and just in general. So yeah, and right now I could definitely use it. So that being said, let's get going with our breath work. For the breath work, we're just going to be doing deep inhales all the way to the belly. We're going to hold and then super slow exhale out the mouth, inhale through the nose. And make sure at the very least that your exhale is slower than your inhale, like it lasts longer than your inhale did. And that's just to promote relaxation and let your nervous system know that you're safe and that it's okay to come into this present moment. So that being said, go ahead and get centered, find wherever you're going to be doing your breath work at. And when you're ready, go ahead and slowly and lovingly close your eyes. All right, we're going to get going with that. Inhale. Exhale. All right, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Do a couple more of those. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Introduce a little bit of movement back into your body. Get a nice rock going. And when you're good with that, just go ahead and re-find your center and get ready for our body scan. Oh, give me a second. This feels really good right now. Definitely needed that. Okay. For our body scan, we're going to start at our toes. You're just going to place your awareness there. And as I call out different body parts, you're just going to move your awareness to where I say. Don't think too hard about what you may notice there. Don't question anything. Don't judge anything. Just place your awareness there. And if you do notice any tension or stuck energy or anything like that, just lovingly release it and allow it to move on. And allow it to move just using your awareness. It doesn't take you having to figure out where it came from or how long it's been there, anything like that. Remember, the name of the game right now is presence. So stay as present as you can and don't get lost in anything you may find. So go ahead and place your awareness on your toes. Give them a little wiggle. All right. So toes. Then your feet. Then your ankles. Then your lower legs, your shins, your calves. Then your knees. Then your upper legs, thighs, hamstrings. Then your pelvic area. Then your butt. And if you're sitting or laying down, pay special attention to where your body meets the surface that you're sitting or laying on. And really lean into that support that's there. Express a little gratitude too. Thank you. Then we're going to go to our hips. Then your waist. then your stomach, your chest, then your back, lower and upper. Then you're going to go to your hands. Then your arms. Shoulders. Neck. Chin. Your lips. Your cheeks. Then your nose. Then your ears. Then the back of your head. Your eyes. Your forehead. And then the top of your head. Good job. Take special note of how you feel right now versus how you felt in the beginning of practice. And before we come out of it, go ahead and wrap your arms around each other or around yourself in an embrace. Get a nice rock going. And express gratitude to yourself 3 times just for this present practice and what really is an act of self-care. Giving yourself this time as well as showing up here tonight. You could be anywhere else right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Before we open our eyes, let's do one last deep breath. Inhale through the nose all the way to the belly. And then real slow exhale out the mouth. And just let the air leak out, like letting air out of a balloon. Don't push it, don't force it at all. Just allow. Inhale. Exhale. And when you're ready, go ahead and slowly and lovingly open your eyes. Oof. Oh yeah. Thank you, y'all. That being said, let's get right into it. Let's see what these shadows have waiting for us. First things first, we're going to get started with the Shadow Work card deck. And this deck has two halves. One half is an identify, and the other half is integration. For the purposes of Sunday Shadows, we take an identify card just to kind of see what's in store or see what wants to set the tone for our session. And then we answer it, and then at the end, to close the energy, we pull an integration card to kind of make it all come full circle after we dive into the energies. So if you want to, go ahead and get something to write with. I would highly suggest it, because if not, you're just going to kind of be sitting here. Because I'm going to write the question down and answer it. And then I'll share. And if you feel called to share, you can share in the chat. Or if you're seeing this later, hey, share in the comments. But you don't have to if you want to be shy. But hey, we're all family though, so don't be too shy. My phone's busted, so if y'all in the chat, I can't even make it out right now, so sorry about that. But know that I'm not ignoring y'all. I just can't see. Seem like these cards want me to pick one, so if nothing comes out after the next couple rounds of this here dry shuffle, then I'll just pick one. Okay, so the one that came out was, what is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? What is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? That's very interesting. Yes, I'm definitely going to be writing this one down because I don't even know where to begin with that. Dang, I can't even see a timer to know how long it's gonna be. Well, I would just write, and then when I'm done, I guess I'll tell y'all to start wrapping up. But hey, and the question is, what is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? I don't know if I could put it somewhere so y'all could keep seeing it, but yeah, I'll just hold it here for a little bit. And yeah, if you're done, you can go ahead and start writing. I'm going to start writing to myself. And yeah, if y'all see anybody else jump in here and they in the middle of us writing, y'all go ahead and let them know what the question was, man. Takes a village. big component. You can take a couple more minutes on this. And even if you're not done, feel free to keep, working on it. Or, as random points throughout the reading or whenever you have the opportunity. Yeah, whatever feels right to you. Yeah, I'm gonna stop writing here, and then I'll just talk about it, and because I could write about that all day, honestly. And I feel like if I really try to answer it thoroughly, we'll be here all day. So, give y'all a little bit of time before I share, and then we go into the reading. But I hope y'all are doing okay, man. As I feel these energies and just today in general. Yeah, just knowing how there's no separation, Yeah, if y'all are feeling anywhere close to how I'm feeling, or like feeling any of the same energies, then yeah, definitely know that it's okay, and to take a breath and stay present. That's really the best thing you can do. And always also understand that everything's okay, and that exactly where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be, And to be gracious with yourself, especially if a lot of the feelings are, born from you, your own worries, your own overthinking, or your own frustrations, especially when it comes to like old things and things that you've already, things. It's kind of hard to even find the words to express without knowing exactly what you could be feeling. But yeah, all that just to say it's okay. And yeah, you're not alone. You're never alone. That's the biggest illusion there is, I promise you. But that being said, what is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? I put they're very linked. My shadow self is a direct product of my upbringing and experiences from childhood. Two big components of my shadow that come to mind are my perfectionism and people pleasing, both of which are directly tied to my childhood and my dynamics with my parents. Yeah, it's funny because before it asked that question, like, I don't know, I feel like I noticed that they were linked, but I've never really directly been like, yes, they're linked, and stamped it and cemented it as an answer, like more so than just kind of knowing it or realizing where it came from without being like, oh, my shadow self, my inner child are very much tied together, But yeah, especially when it comes to perfectionism, people pleasing, which were the first ones that came to mind. People pleasing, I don't know, I wouldn't say. I feel like before, like, yes, definitely a people pleaser. Um, but more so now, not so much. Even though the echoes of that still continue to come up, like, but I don't typically lean into them. Like, I feel like, oh, damn, the urges and the sparks to that lead to that direction. If I don't choose and be conscious of it, I could end up down that path. But when I do notice, it's kind of like, oh no, and I kind of don't go that way, which is dope. Cause yeah, so I would say I'm definitely a recovering perfectionist and a recovering people pleaser. Even though people pleasing is a little more out the way than perfectionism is, that one's a little harder to shake. But yeah, they're directly tied to my childhood and my dynamics with my parents. Perfectionism, for one, is really, I don't know, growing up, um, like even now, in the back of my head, like the voice of my mom, and specifically, it's kind of always like a yeah, but it's like, yeah, that's good, but it could be better. Growing up, it's like, I remember at points bringing home report cards with all A's and there being like one B, and then being happy with that, and then my mom being like, but what about the B? And I understand now, at this point, I understand it. It's kind of like just her always wanting me to strive to be the best, especially as a black male in America. Understanding that good isn't necessarily good enough, always, and that it takes to being extra above and extraordinary, to get everything that I deserve and to get everything that's out there for me. But yeah, at that young age, without those experiences, without that type of hindsight or knowledge, it's kind of just like, it's just never enough. It could always be better, and I find myself doing that to myself. Being like, oh, that's good, but only noticing the bad, or like not even being able to fully revel in the greatness of something because the flaws of it are so present, or either I see them so loudly, just because that was life or death. Growing up at times, that the good wasn't always enough was damn near never enough to keep me out of things, but the bad was always enough to get me into things. So it's kind of just like the good stuff was minimized versus how big the bad stuff was, because this is the stuff that I have to be worried about, because this is the stuff that can make or break me, because it doesn't matter how good it is, as long as there's a little bit of bad, it's raps. So at least to me, in my child mind, so it's kind of just like, so the bad stuff or the things that aren't great were always given more light, and not just from me, just in general. So I find myself now as an adult working and creating these things that are great, but it's like, it's like even music, I don't even typically get to fully enjoy a finished product until like way after, when I'm not as emotionally tied to it, as it's kind of just like, now it's kind of like old, and it's like, oh, it's whatever, and then I hear it, I'm like, wow, this is really good, like this is really great. And now it's old, so it's like where the flaws don't even matter, because oh, it's old, it's whatever. But when it's fresh and it's new and I haven't put it out yet, it's like really, really hard to be like, okay, this is done, because it's like I hear all the flaws. It's like, oh yeah, all those A's, but what about this B? And that's a fight that I continue to fight to this day. And yeah, and I consider that a shadow. So when it asks like the relationship between my shadow self and my inner child, I'm like, wow, that's definitely that inner child in there. Yeah, and that's just a perfectionism. And people pleasing as well, kind of the same thing, just like because my own feelings weren't enough, it's like I could be happy with it, but at the point, my parents, the authority figures in my life, aren't happy with it. Like, it's raps, like now I'm grounded, now I can't do this thing, or now phones are taken away, or now, these things are happening. And it's like, so now that kind of, to my child mind again, it's like now my own feeling and satisfaction isn't enough. It's like now I have to seek the validation from my parents. I have to make sure they're happy. Their happiness is more important than my own happiness, because my happiness can't keep me out of trouble. My happiness can't keep things light. So then it became a shift. So then just growing up, it really became like me chasing like my mom's approval, honestly. And I've never even talked to her about that, but it's like yeah, that was the goal. It was like everything. Like I would get a good grade. I'd run home to show her, like hoping like something would like change things, or something she'd just be proud. Um, yeah, so it's like people pleasing became that was the beginning as a kid. Um, and yeah, that never really came. So it just became a conscious decision. Like okay, like that can't be the meter anymore. Like making mom proud can't be that important to me because as I continue to fail at that, like it hurts, and it feels away, and it's like I can't continue to open myself up to that, knowing the result was gonna be over and over and over again. So it just kind of became like, you know what, that can't be the goal anymore. So I said to hell with it, and just stopped like trying. Like I was just like, you know what, at that point, like if I'm okay with it, that's got to be enough for me because even trying to do this thing now, it's like I'm happy, but now I'm trying. It's just too much, and it doesn't lead anywhere. So that became like where I stopped that, but it didn't stop there, Now in all these other relationships, I found myself in those same kind of dynamics of being like, especially when in relationships now, it's like they want me to stop doing this or like don't talk to that person or like I don't want you, just relationship stuff, especially like codependent relationships and toxic relationships, things like that. It's kind of just like, oh, they don't want me talking to that person. Let me not talk to them because I want them to be happy. I just want them to be so happy with me, and it's just a never-ending thing. So, yeah, and like I said, that's something I've put into the past and continue to keep at bay. But yeah, very much a big part of that shadow self. And yeah, very tied to my inner child. And I'm sure if I say anything about any other shadows or parts of my shadow self, they all are very much linked to those same time frames as far as just me as a kid growing up and those lasting impressions in my upbringing that you feel like you might grow out of, but time doesn't make you grow out of anything. Time itself doesn't change anything. Conscious effort and release and all that changes things. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that question. And yeah, even in the like difficulty in explaining and navigating it, goes to show that it was a shadow and it was something that I needed to kind of spend some time with to really wrap my head around and continue to release, So yeah, that was a really good question. And yeah, thank y'all. I'm really grateful to be able to answer that with y'all and share with y'all. Yeah, and that being said, that's a hell of a tone setter. I'm very interested to see what the reading has in store, I feel like we covered a lot of ground just with that one question. Yeah, so hopefully my answer was insightful to y'all as well. Maybe it helps y'all with some of your things, and that, it's never my intention for it to just feel like y'all are sitting here just being my therapist or anything like that. So I hope it doesn't come across that way. But, okay, identify. Oh, I guess I'll keep that card close just so we can kind of remember where we started. As things come up, we can kind of look back like, oh, wow. Especially if inner child stuff is what we're going to be dealing with tonight. What is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? Ooh. Yeah, if the reading's anything like that, we're in for some things, y'all. Just a heads up, this is a deck I specifically got for Sunday Shadows. And it's a little bit dark. Not just for the sake of being dark. It's a very beautiful story. As far as Winslow Dumaine, who is the creator of the deck. I won't go into too much detail, but if y'all want to know, hey, ask, and maybe we can go over it later. But definitely don't want to spend too much time when we still have so much to do. So, that being said, let's get to these shadows, y'all. What is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? The world. First one out. Yeah. This feels like defeating all odds. Um, and the story behind this deck is that it tells a story of infertility apocalypse. Like the end of the world was brought on by a curse um, that caused infertility. And then it kind of went to hell, as there's without babies and reproducing, the world will end. So the fact that she's pregnant in an infertility apocalypse is very, it's like against all odds type of feeling. And yeah. I'm also hearing don't be afraid of yourself and don't be afraid of your own darkness. And understanding that, a lot of the things that you're wanting to bring in for yourself, a lot of the things that are trying to come in through you are a direct result of your darkness. Not necessarily a result, but you're primed to be the perfect person to bring these things in because of that darkness. Like you may have experienced a really, really rough childhood, but in that you're able to relate to people still in those situations in a way that others may not be able to. And I'm also hearing like, if you go find the most powerful healer and ask them about it, and you'll realize that the first person they had to heal was themselves. And you'd be very hard pressed to find a healer who never had to heal themselves, because their powers and their passion for healing, their ability to heal, and to be able to resonate with someone and meet someone where they're at to heal them is a direct result of the fact that they had to do it for themselves first at some point. And then they understand like how important that is. They understand what it's like to be there, which gives them that passion, that drive to really make sure no one else has to do that or has to do it alone, So it's like, if you're someone with a passion for helping people, or if you have a story or a background that's really, really rough or really, really dark, I'm just hearing to embrace it, like really, really embrace it, because there's a lot of magic for you there. And if you shun it away, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're doing, those people who need someone like you're doing them a disservice. Because it only becomes for nothing when you don't do anything with it, when you allow it to be the end of you, or you allow it to be this dark thing forever, when it's like you can transmute it, you can alchemize it and allow it to become beautiful, It can become beautiful through the things you do from there, the ways you impact the world and the way you show up for other people. And it's like, you're carrying a baby in an infertility apocalypse. That's a very big deal. So allow your light to exist and go get it from your darkness. So if there's a lot of things you don't face, you don't even like to talk about, you don't even own, you kind of just shun it away and hope that, you never want to face it again. Understand like that you're doing yourself a disservice, and it continues to have you in bondage as long as you have that type of dynamic with it. And the best way to free yourself is to embrace it. And not only just to free yourself, but the version of you who went through that deserves love too. And you can't love them the way they need to be loved while you're not willing to look at that darkness, while you're not willing to look at that time of your life or whatever that is. So it's like you have a baby that needs your nurturing. And you have the one baby, and it's like, embrace it and allow it to be beautiful. And yes, it's dark, but that's where your light is born from. And I'm really not trying to discredit, the things you've been through. Oh, and there goes the mother freaking lights. Shout out Jadina. Okay, let's turn. Because there's a light right here. Ooh, still dark. I'll get closer to it. But yeah, see, I could have ran inside, but like, oh, it's too dark, y'all. Like, we'll just cut it here. But no, we're gonna embrace the darkness. That's what we're here for. Oh, there goes the guidebook. Oh, that's not even the guidebook. That's my journal. Oh, ooh, this grass is wet. Okay, but yeah, on the bottom is King of Swords, and this just feels like give yourself a break. Like, be careful about overthinking because the mind doesn't know the difference between thinking and daydreaming, like really giving a lot of energy to an experience in the mind versus actually experiencing it. So it's like the more you sit here and play these things out in your mind and give them a bunch of energy in the mind, understand that your body's going through that trauma of the experience over and over and over again. Energetically, you're actually experiencing it over and over and over again. So as you feel yourself feeling tired and drained and all that, understand that overthinking takes energy. Like, it's not just, because your body's still that you're not using any energy. It's like you're using a lot of energy to think and think and think and experience, even if you're not there. So it's like, don't put yourself through that. You've already went through it one time, let it go. And even if it's not an experience, you're just thinking about possibilities in the future or something like that. It's like, yo, you have to let these things, you have to come back to the present because you're needed. You need your energy in the present. There's things that you need to do. And it's like, and especially if it's about the future, it's like you're using a lot of energy to experience something that may not even happen. The reality of the future when you get there may be completely different than what you put yourself through a bunch of times. So it's like, stop overthinking. And the fact that it's on the bottom when the world came out, it just feels like, yeah, it feels like whatever it is mainly that bad in your mind, Like the reality of it is beautiful if you allow it to be beautiful. If you integrate the shadow, if you work with it, if you question it, if you sit with that past version of yourself and let them know that they're okay, or you sit with your future version and realize that it's going to be okay in the future too, and that if you can make this present moment a great one, that your future is just a present moment that you haven't gone to yet, and if you continue to make your present moments great, your future will be great as well. And yeah, the present is all we have anyway, by the time you get to the future, it was never, you didn't skip any time. It was just a present moment, continued on, and then wow, and boom, whatever the date is in the future that you get to, but it was the present moment still. There's no disconnection between a past present moment, that present moment. It's just the present. That's all that's real. So it's like, if you can make this present moment a great one, your future present moment will be great too. Because if in every present moment you focus on making it a great present moment, great present moment, great present moment, at what point will it become bad? It can't. So yeah, understand that the world is in your hands. Like, you have tremendous gifts and you have something that only you can bring in. And if you're spending all your time overthinking or second guessing or being worried that this thing won't be as beautiful as it can be, and it's like all you're being asked to do is show up authentically and embrace yourself and show up as yourself 110%, And yeah, you may be called to share some of those stories, to talk about them, own them, or create art with them, or whatever you can do. But don't allow these things to just be bad and in there, because you can transmute them and you can alchemize with the best of them. And that's the work, that's shadow work as well. It's like you can turn these things into beautiful things. You can alchemize them. And it's like, think about a lot of the most beautiful art ever. Even this deck itself was born of pain, The author ended a 10-year relationship and was very, very hurt. And yeah, he went and made this deck. This is a long story, and it's like I said, I didn't want to dive too deep into it because if I start telling, I'm going to want to do it justice. I'm not going to want to paraphrase anything. But yeah, so it's like you can make something beautiful out of it, and that's the entire point of this deck. So yeah, that feels like the call right now, is to get it out of your head, get real active with the healing process. Get real active with creation, because all these energies can be used to create. It's all energy. All emotions are energy. Anger is energy. Sadness is energy. And so you can make beautiful things with them, and not just. And I'm hearing like being worried that, if you make something sad, you don't want other people to feel that way. But it's like there's people who already feel that way. So that's not the effect your art will have. If anything, it will allow people to be seen, feel like they're not alone, like someone else can relate to them. And yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like, it's not going to make anybody who doesn't resonate with that, they're probably not going to resonate with it and not even give it too much thought, but it's those people who are going to be like, wow, like this is exactly what I'm feeling, or wow, like I felt that exact same way. That's where your impact will be felt. So if you feel like no one can benefit from this stuff, you're absolutely wrong. Like you're very, very wrong, because there's people who need exactly who you are. And you have like I said, you had the baby. You're pregnant in an infertility apocalypse. Like in a time where there's not too many people who are able to own these raw things, who are able to alchemize the way you're able to alchemize, who aren't as creatively genius as you are to turn pain into these beautiful things. It's like you have that ability. So you're only doing the world a disservice by keeping it in the wraps or keeping it at bay because, you feel like there's no place for it, or because you're not ready to face it. And it's like in this process, you free yourself and you also free other people and the world, because, a lot of people are carrying these type of things. And as you share, the people will feel like they can share. And it's not your job to do that, but I get the feeling that you're a leader, and naturally you're a leader. So it's like, embrace it and use that to heal yourself. And in that process, yes, people will follow and they'll heal and the world will heal. And you'll see that comes full circle anyway, because there's no separation. As long as everybody on the planet's walking around with all these pains and it's hurt, like that's going to affect you too, because you're running into these people. These are the people who are serving you at the restaurants. They're the people who are cutting you off in traffic, like you're coming into contact with people all day, every day. So their healing and the world's healing is in your best interest as well, because you don't live in a vacuum, Like I would say, like, unless you spend every day by yourself or whatever, but you're watching this right now, so you're engaged with me. So it's like, that's just not the case, You're going to interact with people. So at that point, everybody's healing is in our best interest. It's in everybody's best interest. So yeah, that being said, just don't be afraid of your darkness and don't feel like there's no use for it, It can become beautiful, if you allow it to. It only becomes for nothing if you decide that it was for nothing. Like, it's really up to you. Yeah, next out we got 2 and 3 of Wands. Ooh, a cat just walked by, scared the shit out of me. Sunday shadows. Woo. Yeah, 2 of Wands. And both of these are both giving me like transformation energies. But not good transformations. It feels like allowing darkness or allowing like bad things to change you, Like, for example, allowing your heart to turn cold because people keep breaking your heart. Like being like, I always get screwed over, so I'm gonna be the one screwing people over now. I'm tired of getting my heart broken, so now I'm just not gonna be a lover like that anymore. I'm just gonna be cold and just get what I want and whatever. I'm gonna just do everybody how people have been doing me. And this just feels like a warning, because it feels like you're only doing yourself a disservice at that point. It's like, look, what does becoming a monster do to the person who did that to you, Because at the end of the day, you're not hurting them back, right? with that example I just gave, it's like, okay, now you're just gonna hurt everybody else. But it's like the people who really hurt you, they're not the ones who are suffering from that because you're not engaged with them anymore. So now it's just this unsuspecting person who didn't do anything to you, another unsuspecting person who didn't do anything to you, just based off the back of what somebody else who you're not even giving energy to anymore did to you. And it's like, so at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself because now you're going to be limited. You're not going to be able to experience, like this example, you're not going to be able to experience true love like that. You're not going to be able to experience true fulfillment like that. And you're still going to be hurting from all those things and be distrusting from all that, from your past. And it's like the only way to truly get through it and alchemize that is to shed that and continue loving and understand that as you continue on that, as you continue on, that the people you come across and the experiences you come across will be more refined and more you know. Because once you learn those lessons, you don't have to learn them again. So it's like, you'll be able to recognize it faster. You'll be able to see the patterns play out and remove yourself faster. So you don't have to now become a cold-hearted person. You can still lead with your heart, allow people to show you who they are, and you move and act accordingly now that you know better and have experience. So it's like, this just feels like a warning. It's like, yo, becoming a monster doesn't hurt the people who hurt you. It hurts you at the end of the day. Because you're the one who has to look at yourself, and you're not even actually a monster like that. So you're going to feel bad. You're going to be questioning like, dang, did I really have to do that? You know, it's like, it's just not you. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just hearing, look in the mirror. Like, look who you're becoming. And ask yourself, is that like, yo, is that who I want to be? Is that actually who I am? Or am I just hurting? And that's the first part of being able to heal and move forward, is to admit that you're just hurting. Like, that's it. You don't actually want to be this person, because if you were told that, okay, that would never happen again, and you knew that was the truth, you wouldn't be like that. So it's just a coping mechanism. It's a defense mechanism just to protect your heart. But you don't need protecting. And understand that, yo, you're here to experience it all. And heartbreak does hurt a lot. But when you treat it the right way, you know, it doesn't have to, it becomes an experience. It becomes learning. It becomes refinement of you and your love, your heart, and all that, and allows you to show up more wholly in the next experience. It allows you to be more of yourself in the next experience. And it allows you to cherish love even more and feel love even at a deeper level, because you remember the times where love didn't feel like that, you know? And then you can experience even more gratitude when the right love comes along. And I keep using the love example because that's where we started, but could be anything, you know? It could be work, you know? You'd be like, you know what, these jobs don't care about me, so I'm never going to show up at work and give my 110%. And it's like, yo, that doesn't hurt anybody but you know, because that limits your ability to grow. It limits your ability to climb the ranks, especially if it's something you care about and it's a field you care about. It's like, hey, it's in you deserve to thrive. You deserve to be able to give 110% and, you know, get the fruits of your labor. And if that's not what's happening, then you can, you know, adjust and go somewhere else and go somewhere where you're prioritized and you're valued. But to show up as less than your best self because of what someone else is doing is doing yourself a disservice. And you deserve to be able to experience everything that's here for you. So yeah, the answer is never to change and become an uglier version of yourself or a smaller version of yourself. It's like, no, if you're not being appreciated where you are, go somewhere else, you know, remove yourself and continue to remove yourself until you're somewhere where you're treated how you deserve to be treated. And yeah, don't allow yourself to become ugly. Don't allow yourself to change or become this or that because you feel like you have to, or because you feel like the world is such a whatever place, so you have to be like this to be able to be okay, because it's not the truth. And by design, a lot of these things would want you to do that. They want you to change and want you to feel like you have to be this or that in order to have peace or in order to whatever. And it's like, that's not the truth. And the more that we allow that to be the truth, and the more we kind of uphold our own suffering and oppression, then they've succeeded, you know? It's like, yep, we made them monsters. And then they're going to tell you, oh, y'all are monsters. And it's like, that's not the truth. So be you. And if you're not valued for who you are, find somewhere else to be you at. But you have to be you regardless. Yeah, I love y'all, by the way. So much. Yeah, this is interesting. We got seven. Or seven. That's interesting. I didn't mean to say that. It is the number seven. It's a major arcana card. Black smoke. Special to this deck. It is number seven, so that might be significant for somebody. It most likely is. But yeah. And this just feels like depression, honestly. Yeah, it feels like depression, like a black cloud hanging over. I'm seeing the visual of like, you know, the how they had in like old cartoons and stuff where this person walk around and it's just that one black cloud following them raining. That's what this feels like. But it also feels like wallowing too. Like it feels like it wasn't always a big black cloud, you know? But it's like as you sit more in under it, you sit in it, wallow in the energy, don't allow it to move, don't do anything. It just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because, hey, where your attention goes, your energy flows. And the more you sit in it with no intentions of getting out of it, it just gets bigger. And it gets harder to get out of it because it feels consuming. It honestly feels consuming. I'm seeing lights reflecting stuff out of my peripheral. Y'all, pardon me. But yeah, like look, you can't even see his legs anymore. He's got like a hole in his chest. Like, but even so, he doesn't even look like he's paying attention to it. Like it feels like he's so lost in his own mind and his own thing. Like he doesn't even care or see what's going on around him, you know? Because shit just feels that bad. He just feels that dire that he's just in his own world of like, fuck. And yeah, and it's interesting because we got 10 of stars on the bottom. And this is a pretty auspicious card considering the whole deck. Like this card talks about being like a top of the top person, jack of all trades, having everything you need at your disposal, and all that. Like really great things. Like honestly, I'm gonna read this one out the guidebook. Oh, it's crazy because I turned right to the Two of Wands and Three of Wands, which is the last cards we just were looking at. Wow. For the Two of Wands, remember those I was talking about. Being changed. Wow. Yeah, Three of Wands specifically says those who draw this card should be mindful of what they allow to enter their bodies and minds. Toxic elements, whether people, foods, or ideas, can cause lasting trouble. Yeah, invert this card. This is a card for the exploration of ideas, sensations, or people who are generally found to be disagreeable or undesirable. What for some may be seen as self-destructive is for others self-actualization. One should thoroughly explore contrary forces before deciding where they belong. And the Two of Wands says, drawing this card implies the devotion of a family member, upturns on the quest for financial stability, and the weight of hard, demanding work. Work can provide crucial structure in life. Give a man a shovel and he cannot pick up a bottle. Inverted, it forebodes the risk of being overly invested in one's work. One should be mindful to strive towards an even balance in all things between work and rest, especially. Interesting. But let me get to the Ten of Stars. Yeah. So Ten of Stars is this card, which was on the bottom. It says, those who draw this card can expect good tidings on all fronts. A multi-talented figure may offer benefaction, and strong figures, likely tall, broad-shouldered men, provide great help. It is a sign that one should trust their innate abilities to try new talents and explore new skills. Yeah, proper. Material gain, well regarded people, good fortune, kindness, dabbling, and a broad spectrum of skills, which is very different than this black smoke card. So this just feels like an illusion to me, as the bottom, the subconscious energy, the energy that we may not be aware of at play right now, are saying nothing but great things and letting you know that good fortune's on the way and to trust yourself and all these things. And it's like, but on the surface, it's black smoke. It's depression. It's being lost in the smoke, in the fog. And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling called to tell you to zoom out a little bit, to question this depression, to question these things that you're feeling, to question what basis they even have, what they're based in. And even beyond that, to, even if you want to sit in it and wallow in it, to have the intention to get out at some point, you know? And to be feeling it and sitting in it for the point of moving the energy. Because, yeah, right now what you're feeling is not for the purposes of being lost in it. You're feeling it, and it feels so strong right now for the purpose of healing, for you to integrate these things, to sit with them, allow them to pass, and, you know, to get them out of your body, get them out of your field as these things are coming in for you. And it feels also like a call, just like we were just talking about, as far as just alchemy and creating with these things and allowing them to become beautiful things. And it's like, that's what's being offered to you right now. That's what you're not seeing, as far as just the fact that, yes, these energies feel strong. They feel very, very potent and charged, but you don't have to allow them, yourself, to be a victim of them. You don't have to allow them to beat you down or to really have their way with you, you know? You can put yourself back in the driver's seat and guide these energies and be like, yo, I'm going to work with these. And yeah, if I'm going to be feeling this, if I'm going to be sitting here dealing with all this and feeling the intensity of these things, I'm going to make it work for me, you know? Because at the very least, if you create something with it, you have something from it, you know, you gain something. It wasn't just, you know, it trained you, it made you feel beat up, you cried a bunch and you're hurting and all that, and that's it, you know? It's like, you can create with them, you know, okay, if I got to feel this, bet, but I'm going to make something out of it, you know? Hey, make something, go sell it, go make some money, you know, do anything. But it's like, just as intense as this feels is as good as it can be if you aim the energy in the right direction. If you use it to go create, if you use it to heal, you use it to relate to others, you use it to whatever you could possibly do with it. And that just feels like the call right now. And it's like, yes, this is what it feels like on the surface. But understand that you're being granted a golden opportunity if you're willing to work with it, if you're willing to take advantage of it, if you're willing to make it work for you, you know? Because like I said, it's all energy. And hey, I know it's easy to only want to create with the good energy, you know? It's because sometimes when these things come in, the last thing you feel like doing is going to make something or going to create or going to put something forward or put something out. You kind of just want to, you know, lick your wounds a little bit. But it's like, yeah, you can do that, but understand that you're missing a golden opportunity here. And yeah, whatever this is, it feels like it's calling you to work with it. Like, it's not even for you to just be feeling. Like, if that was the case, it wouldn't have picked you, you know? You're somebody, I really keep feeling like you're a creative genius. You're somebody who's has a bunch of creative outlets. You have a bunch of ways to move this energy if you desire to move it in that way, you know? It's like, even telling you that, it's not even like, oh, what would I create? Or where could I create? Or, oh, I'm not creative. It doesn't feel like that'll be a response at all. It feels like you just don't see it that way, you know? But it's like, if you did, it's like, you have this thing, you have that thing, you have this other thing, like wherever you want to put it, you could. So yeah, it just feels like, you know, go create something with these energies. And you'll see just how they move. And not only how they move, but how they become the very seeds that become abundance and become fruits of your labor in the future. And then at that point, the story will not just be darkness, you know? It'll become, oh wow, how the darkness illuminated your future, how it illuminated your present, and all that. And that'll be the story, you know. It didn't have to end ugly, even though it may have started ugly. So, hell yeah, happy creating, y'all, and understand that your creation is a very, very big tool in healing. Don't only create when you feel really, really good, you know. Any energy that feels charged and abundant, you can create with. If you got a bunch of anger, hey, go do that. If you got a bunch of sadness, hey, you can create with that too. And understand that it can all be beautiful. Six of Cups. Oh, she's indecent. But, not indecent, but she's a little nude. Six of Cups. And I just heard alcoholism. Very, very loud and clear. Yeah, this just feels like a warning, another warning. Yeah, and this gives me time traveling vibes. So this makes me feel like, so combined, like I'm hearing like somebody getting blackout drunk, or who typically gets blacked out drunk. And it kind of feels like, be careful, like you've had close calls already, and it's like the last thing you want is to go out for a night of drinking, and then when you come to, now you're in a jail or something, you get in handcuffs, or worse, you know, you don't even make it through, you know. Yeah, I was gonna say wake up dead, but that's not a thing. But you get what I'm saying. It's like you've had some close calls. It feels like you've had some close calls. And even just, not even just the time traveling on this card, but I'm seeing how her eyes are covered. That gives me blackout too. And it's like, be careful. Like, you've had enough warnings, and you keep getting warnings, and maybe that's what makes you feel like, you know, you're untouchable. Like, there's nothing to worry about. But this feels like a warning. Like, hey, we're trying to get your attention. Like, it only gets worse from here. Like, you've been spared a few times, and not even like to really, I don't even want to say not to really scare you, because it feels like it really is a warning. Like, yo, get it together. Like, you're not immortal. You're not any of those things, you know. It's kind of just like, be careful. And then I just heard drunk on power too. Like, it may not even just be alcohol. It may just be like drunk on power. Like, you may be in a position where, yeah, it feels like yeah, this energy definitely feels complex, but very, very nuanced too, and very highly specific. So it's like, as I'm trying to generalize, it's not really giving me energy to generalize it. Yeah, slow down. Please slow down. Yeah, as I say that, I feel energy charging up my spine, like up to like the back of my head. So yeah, this is literally alcohol. I would definitely suggest you slow down. That doesn't even mean stop drinking completely, but to the point of blacking out and all that, definitely slow down. Keep it light. And yeah, have a good time, but make sure you're still in your body, because yeah, this definitely feels like a warning. Yeah, and then Thrall of Swords underneath the Five of Swords on the bottom. And this feels like you need a much needed rest. And this feels like the party, you know, like, ooh, turn up over here. It's the only color, it's the sun over here, but he's sleeping. He's like, I don't even got energy to deal with that right now. And it's like that needs to be you. Like, slow down a little bit. If that means missing a party every once in a while, hey, do that. But your health and your future and everything is just as important, way more important than one good night, you know, one weekend. So yeah, slow down, please. Yeah. This feels very tied to the last card, honestly. So, what popped out was Gemini and the Moon. And these both tell of second chances, honestly. They both tell of second chances. The Moon, from a perspective of a second chance, you don't even know. Like, you don't even know just how close you came. And that feels like this feels like what I was just saying. Like, as far as just close calls, and it's like, okay, maybe, yeah, you've gotten, maybe you've blacked out and everything worked out, and, it hasn't led anywhere yet, but it's like, you don't even know, like, just how much you're being protected, and have been protected. And it's like, yeah, a lot of the things that are happening in the dark, like, you don't get a notification when things almost happen to you. Like, if you were somewhere and then something bad would have happened to you if you stayed 2 more minutes, but you ended up leaving, you'd have no way to know that. You have no idea who might have been looking at. And I don't want to evoke a bunch of fear, but maybe that's what it needs to be the case to get you to wake up. So I won't try to control it too much. But yeah, you never know. It's like, oh, who was in that car looking at you or whatever. But then something happened, so they didn't do anything, and then you were safe. And it's just like, you will never know that. So it's like, this feels like that. Like, yes, nothing has happened, but you don't know what's almost happened. You don't know what you were protected from in the nick of time and all that. And this one tells more so a second chance after a second chance that wasn't expected, like when things go bad and then something happens later and comes, and then yeah, you get a second chance out of nowhere. Like, maybe you got fired from that job. This is just an example. You get fired from that job and then you're done for it, but then, someone new comes in and they find out that the old boss was corrupt or something like that. So, and then they heard about your story, and then they seen your work, and then the new boss is like, wow, wait, who made this? And they got fired for what? No, get them on the phone. And then they call you and bring you back in. And that feels like more so this one. But both tell stories of second chances. So it just feels like right now you're being granted a second chance. And on the bottom was this Virgo card. And this tells a story of like, not being untouchable. In the guidebook, just specifically, just to shine a little bit of light without going all the way to the guidebook, it tells a story about how these giant people were taking advantage of humans, the human race, and they thought when the apocalypse set in, they thought, that wasn't their problem. They thought that was something for the humans to deal with. But then they went back to, this is the person who gives birth to them. And you see, like, there's these skulls and stuff down here. But they went to go kind of convene with her. And when they checked under her dress, they saw these skulls and the dead remains of what was going to be their future brothers, So then at that moment, they realized, like, oh, they're not above the curse. Like, it's them too. And that just feels like that same warning right now. And the subconscious, like, yo, you're okay, you've been protected, but you're not above any of this stuff, So it's like, yeah, you're not gonna just get away with it forever. So it's like, yo, this is your second chance. And I'm honestly hearing, I don't know how many more chances you have. And so it's like, please, definitely be mindful, especially if this is the drinking thing and the blacking out drinking. Like, definitely be mindful of that and understand that, yes, it has been okay so far. But hey, it may be that very next time, and it's not good, So I don't want to put anything out there as far as like, oh, it might be this, it might be that, or this could happen to you, or I don't want to do anything like that. But you understand what's at play, and you understand what can happen. So this just feels like, ew, you've been given a second chance, a couple second chances. But it's like, now it's on you. Like, the next thing will be you discovering that, wow, I'm not above all this. I thought I was. I thought my divine protection had my back. And it does, and it has had your back up until this point. But at this rate, you're headed down a dangerous path. And yeah, they're trying to wake you up. I don't know who they is, but I just hear that very clearly. So I hope you heed the warning. Okay. A Knight of Cups. And this just feels like you have, yeah, this feels like a much lighter message. It feels like you have an unlikely companion coming, showing up very, very soon. And this is, I don't know if I said, but Knight of Cups. And yeah, it feels like you're somebody who may be pretty distrusting, as far as just like you may have been through a lot, or you may feel like, you're somebody who's not lovable or who doesn't deserve love, or I don't know, you might even be hard on your appearances, who may feel like, I'm not pretty, or I'm not attractive, or no one could ever like me for me, or, those type of things. And it feels like what's coming in right now is someone who doesn't care about any of that stuff, who sees you for the truth of who you are. And yeah, they just may not even be somebody who you would expect to like someone like you. But when they see you, you're like, yeah, you're exactly who I want. Like, you're everything to me. Yeah, and I just keep hearing you're beautiful. Wow, you're amazing. Wow, you're perfect. Wow, like, to the point they're so grateful to have you. And it's so crazy because you're over there like, wow, they could never want me, or who wants me? And there's someone like, whoa, like, you're available? Holy cow. Like, you like me? Like, to where the things are completely reversed in their eyes. They're like, whoa, you're amazing. Like, I can't believe you even like me. That they feel so grateful to even be in your presence. And it's like y'all are a match made in heaven, and your backgrounds may be completely different. But you guys fit together like puzzle pieces, and it's going to be a long and fruitful, if this is love, a relationship, if it's business, a partnership, if it's a friendship, even better, But yeah, I'm hearing the sky's the limit. Yeah, I believe I could fly. Like, really, those type of vibes, those energies of just being limitless and boundless, especially together. Like, yeah, y'all are going to fit so well together. And on the bottom, I'm going to cover her up a little bit, but like, she's got a pinnacle coming out, But this just feels like allowing, the pain, like even earlier, transmutation, alchemy. It's like, allow the pain and the worst things that you've experienced and the heartache and all that to be your magic, because it can be. Embrace it. Don't allow it to make you shrink or put yourself in boxes. Own it. Own the worst things that have happened to you. Like, yeah, and like, yeah, I went through that. Oh yeah, I've been through this. Like, and allow it to be a badge of honor. Because as much hurt as you felt is as much joy and fulfillment and everything that's waiting to be experienced by you too. Because these type of experiences bring about a depth that only come from seeing the darkest corners, Because like the worst things you've seen, like, really create depth, honestly, just like the best things create a depth. It's like the more you experience, the more you can experience. So it's like, yeah, understand that it goes both ways. So it's like, own these things and allow them to bring you the great equivalent of them, And you only do that by owning and integrating these energies, because that energy is highly charged, highly potent. And once you become not afraid of it and you allow it to become a part of you and just be as much of a part of you as the light things and all the great things that have happened, it becomes your power. It becomes energy you can work with, And any true alchemist understands that. Oh, confirmation burp. It's like become one with it. Look how these wolves are like growing out of her hair. Like they're very not separate from her. She integrated that shadow and made it work for her, you know? It's like that's the magic you have, and that's at the bottom. So it's like, don't be foolish in thinking that, you know, you don't deserve all these things because of what you've been through. If anything, you deserve them more than anybody. You deserve the most fulfilling love. You deserve the most beautiful mirror ever because you're an amazing person. You're a powerful person. You're a determined person. And it's like, don't allow the worst things you've been through to confuse you or make you see yourself as anything less than the amazing person that you are. Make these things work for you and embrace them and own them and understand that there's people out here who are willing to love you exactly how you are, who see you as way more than you see yourself, because that's the truth of who you are. So, yeah, somebody's coming in, and embrace them, please, when they get here. And don't feel like they're lying to you, or don't feel like, you know, they're just blowing smoke up your butt or anything like that. I feel like I'm seeing a spider web, but I'm not sure what it's connected to. But yeah, let it be beautiful, please, because you really deserve it. I promise you deserve it. I'm going to pull a couple of more of these, and then we can get into our integration. I definitely got a late start tonight, and I can't even see the timer, so I don't know. I don't want to get out of here too late and not even know, so. Let's go get a refresher on our question. What is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? I feel like I just got chills as I read that. I feel like that's very relevant. I feel like everything we talked about could have all definitely been born of, you know, inner child things. The way you see yourself, the drinking problem, potentially, just everything. Allowing, you know, experiences to change us, like, you know, all that could be tied to the inner child. Yeah, I got the Four of Swords. And this feels like I'm hearing jack of all trades. I'm hearing overkill. I'm hearing more than you need. Yeah, this feels very gluttonous. Yeah, this feels gluttonous. This feels like a warning, like be careful. Be careful in your pursuits of the things that you want. And be careful not to step on too many toes in the process, you know? Like, especially if you're taking more than you need, especially if you're making others go without in order to get what you need. It just feels like be careful, especially with the widow on the bottom. Because this story, without going to the guidebook, it kind of tells, and she's kind of new too. I done got to protect my ladies, man. Her bottom, she's all the way new, but yeah. So this tells a story of her husband. There was a demon or something that the whole point of demon was that it would go around and try to get people to cheat on their spouses. Like, it would try to trick them, and then when they did, like, they would, you know, take the spouse or whatever. And in this story, they didn't succeed. Like, the husband, you know, didn't go for it. But in a rage, the demon still took the husband and all that. So she goes at the widow goes after her and like chases them and gets these little beasts and things to go and she gives them the scent of the demon or whatever, based on whatever was left behind. And then she feeds them a little bit, and then she goes and they chase after her, and they get her. So that paired with this card feels like a warning. Like, because you see, he's eating over here. He's already a beast, a bird, but then he's also carrying 4 swords. Like, what does this need 4 swords for? It just feels like overkill. It just feels like doing too much. It feels like gluttony, going after more than you need to go after. And then this feels like, like a warning. Like, hey, you could do that, but you're might step on the wrong toes in that process. And you don't know who other people are. You don't know how much they don't have to lose, how much, that might just be the straw that broke the camel's back. And now, what you did might not even been that big of a deal versus everything they've dealt with. But, when you're at your wit's end and you're fed up, it only takes something very small. I'm also getting that analogy, how when you've had a really bad day and then your belt loop gets caught on the door handle and, like that's a small thing, but after a really bad day, that's enough to set you off, like, what? Oh my God, it's always something, it really could do that to you. Something so insignificant. It's like a little tug on your belt loop when you're trying, and it feels like that. And it's like, yo, you don't know who you're dealing with. And it may not be that big of a deal to you, but at the wrong time, it'll be the biggest deal ever. So it's like, it just feels like a warning. Like, yo, tread lightly. Make sure you're being honorable. Make sure you're not doing too much. And that doesn't mean don't get what you need, but at what cost, Other people don't have to go without for you to have, And I'm hearing that saying like, oh, it's better them than me. And it's like, nah, it doesn't have to be them either, And that also just feels like, a product of hurt, of pain, of other people making you go without. So now you're just like, I'm going to be like that too. And it's like, this just feels like a warning, You don't want to get somebody else's hand because you're trying to be like somebody else, Because if you're not even a bad person, you're not even a person who moves like that. You don't want to move like that. And now, boom, you have something on your plate that's, unsavory. And it's like, wow, you're not even actually that type of person. Like, you don't even deserve that for real. But, karma is real. And karma, as Ruth, is cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. There's a consequence. Things unfold. And yeah, especially if that's not the type of person you are and you don't even have like the legs to actually deal with something like that, the possible pushback from something like that, or people coming and now you have to face and answer for these things, and it's like, for what? So it's like, just be careful, be honorable in your decision making, be honorable in your dealings, and yeah, just don't do anything that you wouldn't be able to answer for if it came knocking at your door, because that's what it feels like. You never know. You really, really never know. So the best thing you can do is just always show up in a way that you can be proud of, and there's nothing to worry about. Fuck. Oh, yep. It's time to wrap. Because all of these are repeats except for 5 of Cups. So I'm gonna read 5 of Cups right out the guidebook. But yeah, look, we got Virgo that came out again, Gemini that came out again, the Widow that just came out again, and the World, which is where we started. And yeah, if you've been here for any of my tarot readings, then you know that when cards start to repeat, that's definitely an indicator to me to start shutting it down. And yeah, I just talked about that not too long ago, so it makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting because these didn't come out together. They came out at very spaced out parts in the reading. But let's see, 5 of Cups. Okay. says proper sexual freedom, self-love, gaiety, and lightness of being. This is a card of sexual liberation and physical enlightenment. Those beneath this card may expect blessings and gifts to find them. Those who engender submission in one and authority in another will reap weakness and violence in equal measure. Such is the lesson of the great Clauldreb, the flesh triumphant. Eons ago, the enormous wriggling entity despaired at the misfortunes of the human race and unsealed itself from its golden monstrance throne to spend eternity in the mortal realm. It is the only divinity who so cared for the human race that it sacrificed its own dimension of paradise to live alongside them. Among the profane, the ageless thing tends to the lost, the wounded, and the discarded, shielding them from attack and rewarding them with gifts and blessings. Once at the far end of the central expanse, where the prairie seats to the eastern bluffs, it found one such distraught mortal. Having evaded her pursuers, a young woman found herself lost in the wilderness. The Clauldreb appeared before her, a heaving mass of folds and flaps festooned with flags, masks, and hooks laden with the hands severed from those who harmed its children, and all manner trophies and trinkets swaying slightly in scintillating splendor. For a moment neither spoke, the silence only punctuated by the cloudy breaths of air from the frightened woman and the deep groaning exhalations puffing out from the recessed mouths of the self-exiled god. Trembling, the woman asked if it meant her harm, and a chorus of phlegmy laughter rumbled out from within. No, my good daughter, I am thy bulwark against such intent. Within my grace, fear no barb, for within the folds of my organ I will protect thee. Yeah, and I'm also being drawn to all the stars at the top. Yeah, and this just feels like a perfect culmination of what we've been talking about as far as just the darkness and not being afraid of your own darkness, because this looks very, very scary. And to read that and to tell that it's literally loves humans so much and it's protecting them and only hurts people who do bad and all these things, it's kind of like, damn, that's what it feels like as far as just that call is to embrace your darkness, and understand that some of that stuff that you're turning a blind eye to is very much there to protect you. It's also there to help bring in abundance for you. It's there to help you create a life that you love and all that, and not just darkness and pain for the sake of darkness and pain. It really feels like you had put these things on your plate. You had them on your plate because you're the perfect person to alchemize that energy to make something good out of it, Because you may look around and be like, wow, why is no one else having to deal with these things? Or why is my life like so terrible? But it's like, understand that, you're somebody who, you're still here to talk about them. So that alone tells me how strong you are, Because giving that same hand to someone else, they might have, not be here anymore to talk about it, to tell the story, So it's like the fact that you're here tells me how strong you are and that you are someone who was able to handle it and who was able to alchemize it if you allow yourself to, who was able to make it a beautiful thing and able to make such a beautiful story out of it, allow it to be foundation to such a beautiful building, a massive palace for yourself, And it's like, but the whole foundation was something that was so dark and who in someone else's story would have been the end of the story, would have never led to anything so beautiful. So it's like, it's your burden to carry because you're the one who can make it a gift, who can make it a blessing, who can make miracles out of that same exact energy. And it feels like, this just feels like that type of confirmation. It's like, it may look scary, it may look dark, it may look heavy, it may look all these things, but it's like, you can turn it around. You have the ability to. And that feels like a really good message on this side of things, because it's like, all these things that come up and however they may have landed, it's kind of like, yes, but you're here to talk about it, That means your story's not done. That means like there's still more pages to write. There's more chapters to write. There's more books to write, So it's like, allow this point to be where it becomes beautiful, Don't allow it to stay dark. Don't allow it to stay heavy. Don't allow it to stay burdensome, especially once you know that it doesn't have to be, that it can become beautiful and that it can really lend itself to everything that you want for yourself. It doesn't have to be separate. It doesn't have to be something that, everything you achieve doesn't have to be in spite of all the things you've been through. There's no separation. Everything that you achieve can be a direct result of the worst things you've been through plus the best things you've been through, because it all roads led to where you were going. And it's not like you have to shun these parts and celebrate the good things and then make good things happen. It's like, no, it's all your story. And if you love who you are, it's all worthy of love as well, because without any of it or even making the slightest changes, you'd be a completely different person. So it's like, if you love where you are, you love who you are, then the best thing you can do is love everything that got you here, especially the worst things, because that version of you needs love and is deserving of love. And as long as you continue to not look at it, as long as you continue to be afraid of it and fearful of it and shun it away, you're shunning away that version of you who needs the love the most, who needs your love, who needs, your acknowledgement the most, because that's you. They're fragments of you that you've left behind in those dark shadows, in those corners that you won't look at, that you won't visit. And it's like, you don't deserve that. No version of you deserves that either. Especially not from you, The world may have did that, may have turned its back on you, may have shunned you away, but don't do it to yourself. And that's just what this call feels like right here. It's just like, if you knew just how much beauty could come from that stuff, you'd go give it a hug, you'd go embrace it, you go integrate a lot of those shadows back into yourself and create and hold space for them, because they're you. They're definitely you. And you deserve love, and so do they. So, yeah, but if you take anything away from here, I hope it's that, even the darkest corners of you is still you. So it deserves just as much love as you do, and as the best parts of you, and as much celebration as the great things. I just got called back to the beginning when I was saying, oh, okay, yeah, all the A's, but what about the B? And it's like, yeah, that B deserves love too, even more love than the A's deserve, because it's all you, man. And the best way to make it an A next time is to embrace it all. And from there, it'll be easier to go after and go get it. When you're not chasing, when you're just doing it because you love it, and naturally it'll become greatness. But as long as you see it as this ugly thing, like, it's going to be hard to integrate. It's going to be hard to work with it, honestly. And that's all it wants, to work with you. So I'm going to pull one more card, and then we can close the energy and get into our integration card. Taurus. Yeah, and this is another card of protection. Yeah, and this card too. Yeah, these are very much tied to closing messages. But yeah, this just feels like defense and protection at the very point where you didn't think there was anything left to protect you. It's like, you're okay. Like, you have no idea the amount of things that are on your side. So even as you're navigating these heavier energies, or really owning and having, it's scary to go into these dark places, because, especially if you've been locking those doors for a while, it's like there's a lot of energy waiting on you, a lot of tough pills to swallow waiting on you. And it's like, you have no idea how protected you are in this process, and that you're not being guided to go look at these things to be on your own to deal with them, You're protected, and, God, the universe, everything you believe in is on your side in this, and it's just time. It's time to go look at these things and trust that you're not alone in this, and that you're being led to do that because it's going to be okay. So if you're worried about that, if you don't feel like you're strong enough, know that you are, or else you wouldn't even be receiving these messages to go look. They wouldn't be calling for your attention right now. Trust that the fact that you're even hearing this is an indicator that you're ready, and that you didn't hear that a second sooner than when you were ready, If you're hearing this, it's because it's time. And this, it feels like assimilation. And in the guidebook, it talks about I'll read the very last line in the guidebook rather than trying to paraphrase it. Leo. Oh, and that first card was Taurus, by the way. So that might be significant as far as someone's sign. Oh, Lord. I don't know where I put it. Oh, I put it right on top. I'm over here looking real hard. But yeah, Taurus and Leo were the cards that came out. But yeah, Leo says, maps, plans, pursuit of order, taking inventory, making sense of the world. This card is a good sign for making plans of action, taking into account all that is within reach and chasing after a more orderly universe. But I'll just read the last paragraph. It says, as far as the story goes, it says, she passed through the portal, heart filled with fear that she would meet the same fate. Instead, okay, no, I'll start higher. Then in the swollen light of one midsummer moon, Tadrak and his servant vanished into a portal and never returned. The bravest champion of order was gone. The High Pontiff dispatched Inquisitor Septicia to retrieve his remains for proper burial. She passed through the portal, heart filled with fear that she would meet the same fate. Instead, she emerged into a vast field of pale grass, self-same in every direction. A lion crowned with a wriggling halo of silver light approached, and to her astonishment split into two distinct creatures. We saw order. Order and power, spoke the greater lion. Yet true power, spoke the lesser lion, lay in assimilation. And that feels relevant right now because that's what I was hearing, like just the assimilation part. Because this feels like you and your shadow self. It feels like up to this point you were trying to kind of find and get everything you wanted for yourself without integrating the shadow, integrating the worst things, looking at parts of yourself, trying to create more of a life for yourself while locking away parts of yourself, past versions, and tying up energy in the past, And this feels like a call right now as you're protected in doing so to, become one with that shadow. Realize just how that the true power is in becoming whole, to not separate your shadow from your light, from all these things, but to really become one and realize that it's all you, and that the being able to truly access everything that's here for you is to regain and reclaim all these things that you've left behind, the fragments of yourself that you left behind, because they may have been ugly, they may have been bad, but it's like you're going to be at your fullest and your truest when you are able to integrate it all. True power lays in assimilation, becoming one with your shadow, becoming one with yourself, and really welcoming all versions of you into the present moment. And that just feels like the call right now, and that you're very, very protected in doing so. So, yeah, hell yeah. And I'm also being drawn to the halos over their head that looks like an infinity sign. It's like you're infinite, you're super infinite, and every part of you is part of you. So it's like you can't create a life that's truly you while not embracing parts of you, You'll only be limited to the percentage of yourself that you're actually embracing, say if 25% of you is lost in the shadows that you won't look at, understand that you only have 75% of your full self and your magic to work with. And if you're trying to get a life that feels 100% you, there's 25% of you that's not being accounted for in this quest at all. That's not even a part of your experience. That's not even a part of your embodiment right now. So it's like true power lays in pulling it all together. It doesn't come from anywhere outside of you. You have to become whole. And in being whole and showing up authentically, showing up 100% in everything you do, you'll get back results that are 100% you. But you have to be 100% you first. That comes first. So yeah, that just feels like a call right now as far as just integration goes. And that being said, that's exactly what's next for us as far as our next cards. So, hell yeah, definitely. Oh, and then we got Gemini at the bottom, Virgo at the bottom, the Widow at the bottom. We got a bunch of repeats at the bottom. So, yep, that's definitely. Oh, look. And then I split to another repeat as I'm trying to continue looking. It's like, boom. It's like you can't make that up. And that just tells me, hey, we got the messages. We got everything that we need to get. And now it's time to integrate. Because, yeah, look, Gemini at the bottom again. Virgo at the bottom again. The Widower at the bottom again. And it's like, okay. Message heard. Received loud and clear. Hey, how are y'all feeling? I feel like that was a lot. Yeah, I don't even know how I feel. This is like my second time working with this deck, so still getting the feel for it. It's very, very nuanced. But yeah, overall I feel I'm at peace. And I trust that, hey, it went exactly how it was supposed to. And yeah. For this next one, I'm not going to write it down. I'm going to kind of just answer it out loud. But if you want to write it down, you can go ahead and write it. And yeah, you can write it and share it if you feel called to or not. Or you can write it and answer it after or whatever. But actually, I would say if you're going to do it, just do it now while you're already sitting here. Because, you know, the further removed you get from the energy, the harder it's going to be to sit down and kind of go and answer, you know. So if you can, definitely just go ahead and answer right now, especially if you have the desire to. All it has to take is a few minutes. And yeah, our identify card is, what is the relationship between your shadow self and your inner child? I'm very curious to see how that ties into, what you guys were getting from the reading, you know. If some of the stuff that came out directly brought you back to, you know, childhood memories or your inner child, or, you know, how related it was to that. Oh, I grabbed two. It's funny because I grabbed two by accident last week too. It looked like one, but when I grabbed it, it was two. And I honored them both, so I'll do that again this week. Okay. What the heck? What are your biggest dreams in life? If your biggest dream happened, what would you do? I just answered this question like last week, so I'm not going to answer it again. But I'll answer the second one. But yeah, if you want to answer, here you go. If you really, really, really want to know my answer, it can be found on my YouTube at the very end of a recent Monday Magic, where I'm sitting out here actually. Literally was right over there where we started before the light turned off. So if you see me there, it's the most recent one. Like, not the most recent one, but the one before that, but it's the most recent one outside, and it was like kind of nighttimey. But yeah, it's at the end of that I answered this question. But the other one is, what qualities do you see in others that also reflect qualities in you? Which is a very, very broad question. Super broad. I bet I hear rustling. But what qualities do you see in others that also reflect qualities in you? I don't know. Where do I start? Like, that's very broad. What qualities do you see in others that also reflect qualities in you? What comes to mind is like just moving too fast. I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like it's not a very profound answer, but just moving too fast. Like, I feel like a lot of people could use slowing down, use some slowing down. Like, I feel like everybody's just always trying to move a mile a minute, and there's always these hacks for more efficiency, more productivity, more this, more that, more, and it's like, it just seems like it's never enough. Like, you can never move fast enough because it's always needing to move faster. And I just feel like, yeah, when I see it, I'm like, damn, like, you need to slow down. But when I think about, like, I find myself eating fast. I find myself just doing things very fast. Like, I have to consciously be like, oh, slow down, like, relax a lot of times. Which I feel like is what makes me see it in other people so much. Because, I recognize it all the time in my own activities. But I feel like the difference is a lot of people don't see anything wrong with that. They feel like they're supposed to be moving fast or there's not enough time and all that. So I feel like that's why I'm always like, damn, like, y'all need to slow down. But I need to slow down too, but I'm working on it. And yeah, and I feel like there's no peace in moving so fast all the time. And yeah, we could just all use some slowing down, honestly. Yeah, that's, and it's like, what qualities do you see in others that also reflect qualities in you? A lot of things, a lot of things. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's interesting though. I'm gonna continue to ponder that because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something that'll click where I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, I feel like I could say anything really. I feel like any quality I know in somebody else reflects a quality of me. So, but yeah, y'all let me know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it went over my head. But that being said, I won't sit here and rack my brain too hard about it. But yeah, that was Sunday Shadows, y'all. I feel like, yeah, I'm going to have to sit with this reading again and kind of go through it. And yeah, I feel like a lot of this will be in the integration for sure. I feel like things from this will continue to hit as we leave from here tomorrow, the day after that, and just in general, just as we continue to move on. I'm very curious to see what you guys think and how these messages find you and how they hit and land with you all. Yeah, I feel like most of the power of this reading and everything will be seen after. Like, I feel like right now it still feels like kind of like, like for me at least, it's kind of just like, I feel like I was gonna say I feel like a big question mark, but not a big question mark, but just like a kind of just a That's how I feel right now. So yeah, I'm interested to see how things continue to unfold from here. Well, I actually did but yeah. But that being said, I love y'all, and yeah, I hope things came full circle for you in this reading, and that I didn't yeah, I don't know. I trust that everything that came from it is exactly what's supposed to come from it. So I won't try to control how it lands or control how you receive it or worry so much about how you receive it or if it landed or how it landed. I'll trust that I did my part and I was chosen as, the channel for these messages for a reason. And that, hey, I expressed the energy in the best way I could and in the way that it needed to be expressed. So, oh, there go that perfectionism shadow. Oh, it's cute. Thank you. Thank y'all. But yeah, I love y'all, man. And thank y'all. Thank y'all for being a part of this. And yeah, as heavy and as big and yeah, these energies definitely felt shadowy. Um, I also find that I feel better than I felt coming into it. Like how I said today was a shadowy day and just, yeah, and I said to be gracious with me and bear with me as, as I was frustrated over and all those things. At this point, I don't feel any of those ways. Um, like I said, I do feel like, about the reading, but outside of that, I feel good. And yeah, I feel good. So thank y'all. And I hope y'all feel good too. And I hope in navigating all these things that it felt like a means to an end, like it didn't feel like we were just going through them just to go through them and drudging up all this darkness for no reason. But in the end, that you feel empowered and continuing to navigate and to continue to explore the darkness and your shadows and all that, because that's the point, not just to be playing with the shadowy energy, but really to integrate it and reclaim our power from it. Because yeah, the shadows hold so much power and energy and magic. And all we have to do is look at them and integrate them. So that's my goal with this series. And yeah, if you fuck with that, then definitely come check out the Patreon, which is where the live streams will be moving from here on out. As hopefully I am able to get that figured out. But yeah, I'm going to trust that I ended up here because there were some people who need to be reached, And yeah, so I hope you do make your way over there. The link is in my bio on my page. You can just click on it. And one of the top links is to the Patreon. So definitely go over there. I have it set up right now as like, I keep seeing spider webs. My bad. I'm over here. But yeah, I have it set up right now to where you can get a 7-day free trial before you have to pay anything. So that's enough time to check out everything that's there already. Plus see the things that I post daily, literally daily. And yeah, you'll also be, if you start right now, you'll be there for the next Sunday Shadows live stream. So you'll get to end exactly where you started. And then from there, you'll be able to really decide if it's something that is for you or not. And there we focus on spirit, we focus on evolution, community. There's some journal with me's that I do, some meditate with me videos. There's intuition practice, tarot practice. What else? Yeah, there's random readings. I share videos and readings I come across that are profound to me. Just all types of stuff. All the work I do that lend itself to my self-actualization and my growth and everything. I just share. I share, especially when I feel called to, or I feel like it could be used by someone else other than just me. That's where I go to share it. So if you're somebody who wants to do the work, who's been doing the work, but may not necessarily always know where to start, or you may just not want to do it alone, you want support in that process, then yeah, come on over. That's exactly what we're here to do. So yeah, meet me on Patreon, y'all. And if you're not, then hey, you can stick around here, and I'll see y'all back here tomorrow for Monday Magic, which is my Monday live stream collective reading, which is kind of like the daytime version of Sunday Shadows, and it's lighter, more focused on what's in store for us during the week. And yeah, it's like the yin yang version of this, So hell yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow, and hopefully I get to see y'all on Patreon and as we continue to do our work. But that being said, thank y'all for being here, and yeah, I really appreciate it, because Yeah, it was very trying making it here today. And I really wanted to see it through because at the end of the day, like, this is something I want to do. And I feel like there's no forces around that should be able to, get in the way of me doing what I want to do. So by hell and high water, I'm always going to show up. So yeah, I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of you for being here as well. I know it's late, especially if you're in the same time zone as me. At this point, I don't even know how late it is. I don't know how long we've been going, but yeah, I'm just thankful for y'all, and I love y'all so much. And I'll see y'all around, man. This has been Mark. This has been Sunday Shadows. And yeah, I'm proud of you for showing up and for navigating these energies and doing the work. And embracing it, honestly, because like, you could have been doing anything. And it's like this dude just hopped on Twitch and told you to get your pen and paper out and start dealing with all these shadows, and hey, you did it, and that's big. Because at the end of the day, it's only for you anyway. So being able to embrace that is everything. And that tells me that you're already not the average person, and you're not anything small at all. You're a very big deal. So I hope you know that, and I hope that you show up as that. And you're not surprised as these good things continue to show up for you, as blessings continue to show up for you, as, everything you've ever asked for starts to fall into your lap, especially as you integrate these shadows and regain all your magic and reclaim all your magic and understand that it's all you and that it all deserves love. That, that the things that come in for you, you realize are just products of you and fruits of your labor, and you deserve everything. And nothing is a favor, nothing is you being lucky. It's direct products of everything that you put in and the way you continue to show up. So I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of everything that you are and the way you continue to show up. Because it's not easy. Like, I'll never tell you it's easy. I'll never, as much as I'm like, oh, let's do this shadow work, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. A lot of times it's simple. It really is simple. But easy, no. That's different. Because, like, it's easy. It's simple. Like, follow your heart. That's simple, just follow your heart. But in practice, like, that's not that easy, as you have this going up, popping up, and this pushing you this way, and this person telling you this and putting this energy on you, and you have these responsibilities. Following your dream is not easy, even though it is simple. But yeah, so trust me, I get it. And that's why I'm so proud of you, and that's why at the end of all these things, I'm just so grateful for you even being here. Even though, I'm saying you're telling you do this and that, and, it may even feel like reprimands at times or like you're messing up. But at the end of the day, the fact that you're sitting here listening to these messages tell me that you're not messing up at all. We all need reminders sometimes. But the fact that you're able to sit here and you choose to sit here tells me you're somebody who's going to get it right and who gets it right, And it's very important for you to hear these messages because you deserve everything that's coming your way. And if at the point where it's these little small tweaks and things that you have to acknowledge and change, like, we're not going to let those keep you from everything that you're so close to and everything that's unfolding for you, So, yeah, definitely don't fall into thinking you're far behind or, oh, wow, I have further to go than I thought. You don't. It's like these are really small shifts in perspective and just acknowledgement, really, just like, yo, like, wow, okay, this deserves love. Let me go give love to this. Let me go look at this. Let me go sit with this. And that's it sometimes, It doesn't have to be this big thing. You don't have to devote the rest of your life to figuring these things out. No, it's just really just, damn, like, that version of me was valid and it's still valid and deserves love. Like, let me go put my arm around that version of me rather than, like, keeping them over there because it's too painful to look at, And it's like, that's a very small thing that has very, very big results. So, yeah, that's my goal here with Sunday Shadows. And see, I've been trying to say bye for so long, but it really means so much to me. All this work means so much to me, man. But yeah, like I said, I could talk about this all day, and if I don't ever actually say bye, I'll never say bye. So, Mark, out. That's a heart. I love you. But yeah, I'll see y'all around, man. Y'all be safe, and yeah, don't be afraid of those shadows. It's all you. Bye, man.